Hello everybody. I'm just getting situated here. We're gonna be making some Palm Sunday palm crosses. I don't know what else to call them. I was not raised Christian, but I thought this would be a really cool thing to do in miniature. So we're gonna try our hand at it. I am using corn husk, actually, because it's really pliable. Even after it dries, you can soak it, which I did. I had some dry husks laying around, and these aren't like the outer leaves. These are some of the innermost leaves where you still have a little bit of that green. So I'd gotten some from the grocery store and let them dry, and when I was ready I started making them a little bit more pliable by soaking them. So I'm just gonna cut an even edge here. Ooh, that's my nail. Even edge here. If I can get an even edge. Kind of a little difficult because it keeps curling in on itself, but we're going to do our best. We're gonna try at least to cut 1/16 of an inch. If I can find my ruler. 1/16 of an inch strip. Maybe marking it'll help. Maybe. A lot trickier than I thought it would be. Maybe I'll get some water and soak it again and we'll cut it while it's wet. How about that? take very long to soak, so. Alright. Oh. Just gonna iron it out a little bit. Alright, now we've got, oh, that's so nice, okay. Alright, let's try this again. I'm sorry I haven't put up last week's video on YouTube. I started editing it. Somebody requested a shorter video. Well, said that my current videos, me just posting my streams, is not interesting. So I got into the process of editing, but it takes me a while. Hi! Am I early? 7:30. Is it not 7:30? Daylight savings time, my dude. Or Palm Sunday, also early. It's because I want to get them done. No. I think last week I might have started closer to 8 last time, but I try to aim for like 7:30. Going to say daylight savings time messes me up something fierce, but come on now, I can read a clock. I think we'll need all the way up there, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. Alright. So I'm using a folding technique that I found online to be able to do this. It is tricky, so we're gonna glue along the way because it's just too tiny to fold and keep in spot. Yeah, I mean, it's nice, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna be messed up for probably a week. in some glue here. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be nice, and it's supposed to be lovely this week, so. Yeah. Thankfully, the only thing I had to change in my house was the stove and the coffee machine, but I think my car is new enough that it switches over on its own. Or any music that I can't sing along to, because I will, and we'll get in trouble. Your music is different than my music. I can't hear what music I'm playing, I just know it's some sort of nice guitar music. And my music was a Sleep Token iHeartRadio station, but now it's not. Because I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm making these 7/16 of an inch. Oh, so I was saying I have to, I'm still working on editing the video. I don't know, I feel like me cutting it down, I don't have the kind of time to be able to do that. So maybe I don't, and I just keep it the way it is. I am not a content creator. Oh man, I was telling my husband this week it might be time for me to go see an eye doctor. I have always had really decent eyes, but it's it might be time to just, you know, check. I got one fold there, and while that glue dries, I'm gonna cut a couple more pieces here. Because if I can get these done this week, one less thing for me to do. How you doing, Redbeard? All good? Just gonna have to keep these husks kind of wet as I work, or else they'll curl up on me. Oh no! Just stuck my pencil straight into my glue. Sad. It's kind of funny. So if I can, I take the miniature project I'm working on to work with me, and this past week I was taking the Mardi Gras banner pieces to cut out, at least as much as I could, because some of it requires just an X-Acto knife and cutting board, and I don't have that kind of time or space to do that. So but a lot of the people I work with are Hispanic, either Guatemalan or Honduran, and they were looking at my work. They're like, "What are you doing? Like, what?" But there's obviously a language barrier, and you know, they don't call it Mardi Gras in Spanish, you know, and whether they celebrate Carnival or not is a different story. So, it's just one of those things of like, how the heck do I explain what I'm doing to these people? Like, they know I make miniatures, but going that far into what's in front of me and what's going on. They show interest. I mean, that's the nice thing. It's hard enough explaining it to, like, native English speaking people, let alone with an entire language barrier. This should be dry by now. Close to. Oh no. Oh, this is gonna be a fun game. Gonna keep these things soaked. That's what I have to do, I guess. Jeez. What a game. It's a learning experience, though. My mom makes these beautiful little corn husk dolls out of actual corn husk, and they're for sale on my Etsy. But she's trying to explain to me how working with this would be, and I'm like, yeah, I can figure it out. It's fine. Yeah, probably. I mean, trying to explain anything to somebody that does not speak the same language as you is always a fun game. What's even more fun is because, so a lot of them, they'll speak Spanish to me. I understand enough to get through the day. I can speak enough to give directions to what we're doing. Very, very basic directions. Because I took French in high school. And while some kind of similar, not very, so but you know, a lot of it is broken English, and I hate to speak to them in broken English, but I kind of have to. You know, I would want to teach them English if they were interested, but I think a lot of them are nervous or embarrassed or something like that. So every once in a while we'll have like a conversation where it'll be like, hey, how do you say this? And I'll learn a new word, or they'll learn a new word, but I am less afraid of them laughing at me for learning a new word than they are. Mostly because laughter is the best learning, I think. But yeah, it's I come home and I'll still like mentally be thinking in broken English, so I'll use like smaller words that I'm accustomed to. Or I'll speak to my husband in Spanish sometimes. But I fluctuate between like Spanish, French, and Baileyisms. So it's kind of just difficult. I'm just gonna cut off that ugly piece and hope that it's still long enough. Because my husband learned Spanish and French in high school, mostly Spanish. I don't think he would have learned any Spanish if he didn't think the Spanish teacher was hot, though, so there's that. recently I bought myself, because I don't know like the base. I know some of the basics, but not like the building blocks of the basics. So like I didn't know how to say half of the letters in Spanish. And like, you know, I know my pleasantries and my good morning, good night kind of a thing, and a how are you, and colors and numbers and things like that, but like I kind of want to start from the bottom. So I bought myself like a kid's workbook. Like a coloring book for both Spanish and French, even though the French I didn't really need it, but like I feel like some things I'm a little rusty on. Though I had a LARP character a couple years ago that I only spoke French, and that's it. Like the goal was to not interact with people, but they insisted on trying to teach me common or learning my language to be able to interact with me, and I was like, what? Leave me alone. They were like, what, you're playing a cute bear in the woods? You don't think we're gonna try to interact with you? I was like, well, I hoped not. Kinda wanted to just sleep in the woods. This cross. I'm gonna get so many weird Christian ads now. Okay. So let's zoom you guys in. Can you see that? Go up, back, diagonally. Ah, no, the glue. And I think to myself now I think I understand why nobody has made these. You see how tiny that is? It's like a ½ inch. My foolish self thought, oh yeah, I'll definitely be able to get 6 of these done in a ½ an hour. Pfft. Okay, Bailey. Sweet summer child. Naive, silly. Doing good though, so far. Getting there. I mean, for my first time folding a palm cross, not awful. Alright, patience. Show some reverence for the holiday you're supposed to be representing here. Have some patience. But yeah, I was not raised Catholic. Anything I know of religion in general has mostly been self-taught. You know, with the exception of going over like ancient cultures in various high school classes, but my mom's version of teaching me anything about Christianity was handing me my Bible, and giving me the soundtrack to Jesus Christ Superstar and calling it a day. So, yeah. So these guys, I just thought they'd be neat to make, though. I tried to make them the first go when I did holiday stuff, but we used raffia grass instead of corn husk, and that just did not work in my favor. So I'm not even sure what you do with these. Are there any like Christian or raised Catholic viewers out there that would like to inform me? As far as I know, they're like a decoration and you keep them until something. Right? And then the palms are used for the ashes and Ash Wednesday. I don't know. Somebody explain. I want to understand. I find religion fascinating. Just, I don't particularly feel it needs to be a place in my life, but I respect everybody else's decisions and beliefs because, that's what makes us such a fascinating species. But if there's anybody out there that knows about it and would like to inform me, I am happy to learn. Taking a minute to watch this video and make sure that I'm doing it right. Though I think there are just multiple ways to do this, too. Ah, okay. Let it dry. Gotta keep reminding myself. Finally got to see my sister-in-law today. We've been trying to set up a get-together so we can plan Easter. Because now that she's got a daughter, she wants to do something special and, you know, my son is in the last few years of probably wanting to do Easter something, so might as well go out with a bang, right? But I will happily do Easter stuff for my niece. Oh, no, please talk. It gives me a minute to, like, readjust mentally if somebody talks. And then I'm not sitting here talking to myself. It's going! Scaled Crafts, how are you? I can also do that with conversation, so I do well with most tedium and talking. Yeah. Weekend went by too quickly. Though I was awake for, like, too much of it. I, took my in-laws to the airport on, yesterday morning, I guess. 3 in the morning. Had to drive them into Philly. And then fell back asleep around 5. Woke up around 9. And then stayed awake until technically 3 in the morning, I guess. Two in the morning. But, like, daylight savings. So. Then I woke up today around 9. And have been moving non-stop, it feels like. don't know that I can tuck this in like I'm supposed to. Maybe. Probably not. We're probably just gonna glue it. Oh, but it looks so good. Okay. Alright. It's just, like, I know the clamp's in the way, but look at it. One. I need a better chair. Somebody needs to find me a chair that has arms, but I can still sit cross-legged in. It doesn't knock into my table legs. Is there a way I can just design my own chair? Besides building it, I'm not building a chair. I'm so excited. So for Easter, I know what the Easter Bunny is bringing my son. Because the Easter Bunny tells me. For the children that watch my stream, if they watch my stream. The Easter Bunny is bringing my son his own planter pots and a whole bunch of seeds that are for plants that look like plants from video games. And I am very excited about this prospect. And he's getting his own garden tools. So I think it would be good for him because it'll give him like a sense of responsibility for his own little garden plot. And he was in his garden club at school last year, but he didn't want to be a part of it this year because the only way he could be is if he volunteered to like help the underclassmen, and he's not about that, so So I thought that was just a really cool thing for, you know, a boy his age who is interested in, like, gardening without it seeming like it's too much of a, you know, the kids think a lot of weird things about expected gender roles and things like that, and I try to nip a lot of that in the butt, but it's hard sometimes because kids come up with their own things, you know, like, I don't know, for 6 years out of my life I didn't want to wear socks that were colors, so kids are weird. They have their own weird things about it, so to make it something that appealed more to his interests with video games, I think helps. But I've never believed that gardening was for one gender or another, and in fact, my father is very big on gardening. Not just like landscaping, but, you know, every spring he would come home with as many different daffodils as he could find in our yard, my grandmother's yard, and my best friend's yard, and between those 3 houses he would come home with like 35 different daffodils, not just like your standard yellow, like oranges and pale pinks, and they were gorgeous. And, you know, my dad likes flowers, so when I started dating, I always thought it would be nice to get my significant other flowers. And I get phoenix flowers, and I got my husband a bouquet just yesterday, and you know, whether or not they appreciate it is a different story, but there's a study out there that shows that most times, the only flowers a man gets in their life are when they die. And I don't want that to be the case for anybody that I love. I want them to experience that kind of love and beauty when they're still here. Supporting the kids is something I take a lot of pride in. With thinking, yeah, definitely. I mean, sure, I want to support his interests in video games, but at the same time, does need to get outside a little bit. So I try to encourage the Easter Bunny to bring him something that will encourage him to go outside. And then the Easter Bunny brings something for my husband, and Easter is definitely probably my second favorite holiday because of what it meant to me as a child and what it still means to me now. Let me tell you though, I almost walked out of Kohl's with like 7 different new decorations. And I didn't. I was very well behaved. Didn't walk out with any decorations. I'm gonna wait for the sales. Come on. Somebody's Nona is gonna love these. How did I do that wrong? No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I assume somebody's Nona. I hate to assume, but Roman Catholic Italians, right? Just gonna do a happy dance to myself over here. So yes, for anyone tuning in, I am using corn husk to make Palm Sunday palm crosses, and I am cutting down strips of wet corn husk, like some of the inner leaves, middle leaves, down to 1/16 of an inch, and then folding it so that it comes out to be a little over half an inch. 7/16 I think is the measure I'm using. And if you're looking to do the fold I'm doing, I'm using a website called mercyhome.org. And they've got a video on there. You can just look up palm cross tutorial on YouTube. It's pretty simple. It's just very tedious at such a small scale. And I was using glue, but then I had to wet the leaves and just didn't take. So we're just folding and hoping. But I'm really enjoying using the corn husk. Really durable. Really easy to work with, very flexible, especially while it's wet. Just very forgiving material. And close to color. I know some palms are a little bit more green when you first get them, but when they dry out, they're gonna be this light green to yellowy kind of material. Plus, it's a natural material. And mine was free. I just walked up to the lady who was husking corn in the grocery store and said, "Hey, can I snag like 2 of those leaves you're gonna just throw out?" And she's like, "Yeah." Why? But you can buy corn husks if you want, I guess. If you're gonna make these en masse. Or in a different scale. I know they sell corn husks to make tamales. I officially deactivated my items on my Etsy. SLC miniatures are still available if you're looking to purchase them, and they will be available for the duration of my items deactivation. I made an announcement about this because a lot of people were very concerned. It was kind of funny. To me, at least, it was funny. It was not funny to some people, I guess. But I got a couple people reaching out and are like, "Hey, is everything okay? Are you closing down your shop for good? What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I just can't do both." Like, prepare for the show and keep up with Etsy orders at the same time. Like, I need to be able to have stock to sell. They're like, "Oh, that makes sense. Okay, we were just worried you were going somewhere." No. Haven't gotten rid of me yet. Don't worry. Ooh, that one was thick. that dry for a minute, because I managed to fold it very quick. Anyone want to hear some cool actual work stuff? I can tell you about my actual work stuff. Cool. One person. Yeah. So I work for a plant nursery that specializes in wholesale native plants. So your oaks, your maples, native grasses, things you would consider weeds as a homeowner, but are actually part of our natural ecosystem. My job position has been shipping. I help with, or I package up most of the orders for mail delivery. I help with pulling orders for trucks, and when I'm not doing that, I'm doing just general labor. For the most part, over the last couple of years, well, over the last 2 years, I was content with that because I was coming off of my last job, which made me think too much, and I did not need that going into this new job. I just wanted, that's why I left my old job. I just couldn't anymore. So I had told my employers at the end of last year that, hey, if they needed my help with anything, I was more than willing to help out now that I was in a better mental space than I was when I first started. I was happy to give any of the knowledge that I have from my previous job experiences and schooling to, improve the company. So we've been back and forth since then, trying to figure out, what I could be doing to help out and where I could fit, because there's so many things that I could do and honestly succeed at. But, justifying a new position and things like that, it was just a weird, had to figure it out kind of thing. So recently my employers came to me and were like, hey, how would you feel about writing grants and doing research to see what we could do to improve, like, our herbicide sprays or our fungal sprays, or see, what cultural practices we could be doing to better what we have. And I was like, put me in, coach, I'm ready to play. I've never written a grant before, but I'm sure it's not that difficult, and I have resources that I can go to from, my previous jobs and people I know that I can be like, hey, I just want to make sure this is right. But I told them, even if we don't bring in grant money to do these projects, we could get various incentives from chemical companies, and just company knowledge is always good too, so save money and costs on how we currently do things. speed things up, improve quality of product, and so I'm really excited because nurseries don't have like a researcher. They rely on the chemical companies to do that, and if a nursery has like done research, they haven't done research. They've okayed somebody to come and do the research with their stuff. So we're kind of setting a precedent for there to be like that position. So I'm excited. Means I'm back in my wheelhouse without all of the pressure that I had at my previous job. Though as soon as I said yes to this position, I definitely had a work nightmare. So hopefully that's not a sign of things to come, but it'll be fine. So for now I'm also doing shipping, but I am getting a pay increase, and I get to do something I love, that I've always had a passion for. And the pressure at this point is not on me because, I can do the research and I can find the answers, but like whether or not the management decides that they want to use that information, it is a groundbreaking opportunity, yeah. Because first off, like, not a lot of nurseries specialize in native plants, and any like chemical that you use on standard agriculture or nursery settings isn't going to have these plants on the label as something that it's okay to spray, typically. There are some exceptions, obviously, but you look at these things, they're going to be labeled for corn, they're going to be labeled for soybean, they're going to be labeled for whatever specialty agriculture, but nobody's focusing on these things because they're usually trying to kill them. So to turn that around, and because we're one of the only nurseries that specialize in native plants, it's gonna be, I think it could be huge. I am very excited. But yeah, I can find all the answers, but it really depends. If it gets enacted is certainly on the management to do that, so I'm just excited. Yeah, thanks. Sorry, a lot of plant jargon there, but I even told them, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can get on a roll. And the thing is, too, when it comes to understanding any research that's already been done or papers that have been written, a lot of it is in such scientific nonsense. I'm gonna put it bluntly. It's written for scientists to read. It's not written for growers to read. So it's not very accessible, and having somebody that understands the lingo to be able to move forward with, hey, this is how to translate it to something that growers would be able to understand. I'm an asset to these people. I hope they come to realize it. At least I hope the management comes to realize it. The owners know. The owners are so confident in me, I start getting, like, imposter syndrome. It's very weird. So, moving on up. Oh, moving back to where I belong is really what it is. And I love my current position, and I understand how important it is, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm kind of one of those people that just can't go to work and not think. And not want to improve and not want to, better the situation that we're in. There's just something not fulfilling for me in that. Not cooperating. Let's try another. I don't know. I know people that can, but I don't know. I can't. Well, only 3 more to go. Then I won't have to think about these this week. It'll be done. It'll have stock for November. crosses. I wonder where Nexus is. Oh, maybe she's still at that convention. Nexus went to the Dallas convention for me. Well, for herself, I guess. Not for me, but obviously not for me. But I wish it were for me. I wish you were going for me. Yeah, go get me stuff. Maybe she's not on because I didn't give her a direct invitation. She seems like every time I try to, every time I don't tell her that the stream is on, she doesn't come. This is the way you want to go? You want to go that way? You know, one of these days I'm gonna figure out how to turn that off. Don't know how. I need just a technological guru to come over and set me up with like a fancy thing around, fancy border around my stream and some fun things that we can do during stream and figure out my camera. I'm willing to pay somebody to come do that. I just don't have the mental capacity for it. And I don't have somebody, oh, holy crap. A raiding party, hello. Oh my god. What is going on? Hello, welcome. I am, there's so many of you. Welcome to my stream. How appropriate that it's a Templar raid. I'm not nervous, don't worry. I'm just so used to only having like 3 to 4 people watching me. I make dollhouse miniatures, and I thought it would be a neat idea to make little um, Palm Sunday palm crosses. And instead of making them out of palms, I'm making them out of corn husk because the material is a lot more forgiving in small scale. Thank you. So these would fit in a dollhouse that is what we consider 1/12 scale. So for every inch in the dollhouse, it would be a foot in real life. Yes, very, very little. So, where's my penny? I have a penny for scale. Ooh, sorry. There you go. Thank you. Oh my goodness. So many of you. I was just asking. It's like asking you shall receive, right? You guys might be able, one of you might be able to answer this for me. I am not a very religious person, but I understand and appreciate religion for what it is. And I don't want to get into like any sort of dispute or argument over anything in here. But I was curious as to, first off, why Catholics and other denominations get the palms, and then what you do with them. Oh, that's so cool. Well, welcome. I'm sorry it's not as much a religious stream, but I figure I make miniatures to sell, and I thought somebody would appreciate having this in their dollhouse, or as a charm. Who knows? I mean, people just appreciate these kinds of things in general, having accessibility to them. Thank you. Get what? Huh? What? Where? Whoa! Oh, whoa! Yeah, thank you. Get what? Why do the Christians get the palm crosses? I understand what they represent, but like, because the palms were laid down for Jesus to walk on as he entered the city, right? So far. And then, but why do we receive them? Like, why would a worshiper receive like a palm frond or a little cross made out of them? Mm-hmm. I understand that part. But what do we do with them? Just decoration? Aha! I've stumped the Christians! Is it like a relic, like a safety thing, or like a having it in good faith, or being one with Jesus... My in-laws sometimes they get the palms, and then I know that they are burnt on the following Ash Wednesday to make the ash crosses, but I don't know why they get the palms in the first place. Oh, palm oil. I've never heard of that. Symbolism? Okay. That's fair. That's a fair answer. I mean, that's most religion, right? Just symbolism. Very cool. What a weird thing to have that happen. I was saying earlier, because I didn't know that this aspect of it, like why people get the palms. I was like, oh man, is there anyone in chat that is a Christian or was born into Catholicism or anything like that, or any denomination that celebrates Palm Sunday, that would have an answer for me. Weird. And I get rated by a Bible study group. Cool. Just cool. Ooh, that needs to dry its teeth. Oh, no, that's why. Oh. I'll tell you what, though. I'll know how to do this if I ever receive a palm. It's mainly because of the path of the palm branches. Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. And then to be, to symbolize our, I keep saying our, ones, to symbolize one's closeness with Jesus Christ, I guess. Neat. Good to know. Whoa. Palm branches were a symbol of goodness. Okay. Funny story, when I was much younger, doing my internship at a church, I was responsible for burning the palms for Ash Wednesday, so I went out back to get the palms and empty grill and burn them, gathered the ashes. Did not know. Oh. Burning palm smells a lot like burning something else. Haha. Well, that's fun. Well, yeah, it's unfortunate. Burning a lot of plants just smell awful in different ways. And I'm sure, sure it's funny looking back on it, but pretty embarrassing then. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciated this. This made me smile. I hope you'll follow and I'll get to talk to you again. How cool. I'm gonna sit here and revel in this. This is so neat to me. That one turned out funky. Good thing we're making 7. I did not expect this. Oh my goodness. I am flabbergasted. What were you guys talking about in Bible study tonight? I would love to hear about it. Ooh. Oh, nice. Used to paint miniatures. So I do this, and I have, well, my friend group does a lot of the tabletop miniatures like Warhammer and things like that. But I also have an HO train scale project that I'm working on for myself, and it's my Patreon content. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like that's not talked about a lot. I was saying earlier that during my upbringing, religion wasn't really not encouraged, not forced upon, but it just wasn't like, it was one of those discover your own path kind of things. Whatever speaks to you speaks to you. My mom handed me the Bible that I had, and because I was dedicated, but she gave me that and Jesus Christ Superstar and said, figure it out. So very interesting that you've been studying the life of Judas, and that's Jesus Christ Superstar is told from the perspective of Judas. So many coincidences tonight. Always try to teach lessons in a different way instead of just sharing the same old stories. Judas is not often talked about. Someone suggested it. I love it. I find religion at its base, pretty much all religions, really. I find them all fascinating, and I find it amazing how across the world it's what we've gone to. Like, every culture has had some form of religion in one way or another. some sort of spirituality. It makes us very human. But I like that you talk about the things that aren't usually discussed. That, to me, so my husband was brought up Catholic, and he went to Catholic school and did most of his sacraments. And so when I have questions about religion, well, Catholicism in general, he can't answer the more difficult questions because his church didn't discuss it. It was very much well, this is the story. This is the story. You just stick to it. Just this is what we know, kind of a thing. So to explore deeper into it and find other understanding, I mean, that I think that helps us understand religion more than just relying on the teachings that everybody has taught before us. I've been to Catholic Church a couple of times because of my in-laws and things like that, and just my general curiosity in it. I like to experience those kinds of things, but I every time everybody goes up for communion and I can't, because not only am I not Catholic, like I understand the things that are required to be able to take communion and things like that, but the looks that some of these little old ladies give me for not going up for communion. Sure, I'm sure. There's so many questions to be asked about it all. You know, as much as I'm sure a lot of people of faith have blind faith and are able to experience that, not everybody can. And so they need answers. Some people are just more prove it to me kind of minded. Not everybody experiences miracles in the same way. Or faith or spirituality, so we have to be able to answer those questions in order faith... In some cases, I understand you shouldn't have to challenge faith, but some people do. You know, I like to keep of sound mind, open mind, because I am a person of science, so for me, I need the proof, and I haven't gotten the proof, but I don't want to cancel anything out, so I hold a complete non-bias. But that's not to say that anybody is wrong and anybody is right. I don't know. I've never experienced anything to tell me one way or another, so it's not my place to decide. This got very deep tonight. I hope that it doesn't get... I don't get, like, canceled or anything for this, but, this is the kind of conversation I love to have. Sure, but, yeah, I get that, and you should... If that is how you want to see things, sure, you need to be able to look for those small miracles. You know, I just try to be a good person, like, across the board, no matter what faith. I think there's always a golden rule of do unto others and be as kind as you can be, you know? Maybe not in more extreme faiths, but everywhere there's gonna be jerks, right? But I just try to be good. As true to the definition of good as I can be. And hope that it works out in the end. There you go. That's anything, I think. You know? I'm not here to blast somebody's faith or belief or any ideas. Like, I wouldn't sit here and make fun of another race, and I wouldn't sit here and make fun of another culture, or it's not my place. I don't know anything about it to do that. Just be cool to one another. Let people live. As long as it's not hurting you. Be groovy. Oh no, that one unfolded weird. I think it's often difficult for people to try to be kind about things that they don't understand. And disagreement of religion or disagreement of ideas usually falls into that. So, as long as you guys aren't here to, like, heckle me for not understanding, I appreciate you being here. I completely understand. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate this. I hope that anybody that has been lurking and anyone that came in on the raid, like, give me a follow, come in, say hello once in a while. I appreciate it having you guys here. That's fine. You are more than welcome to lurk. I am just finishing up these 3, and then I think I'm actually going to call it a night. Ooh, knocking stuff over. Almost got it. Sorry, I got in the zone there for a second. Stop talking. There you go, Redbeard. One of my viewers was saying he was afraid to talk while I was working because this seemed very tedious. And I said I prefer people talking in the chat because then I can, like, actually not be talking to myself. And don't come across as crazy when people show up. But it's also nice to just know people are there. And it gives me a visual break from looking at such tiny things to look up at the screen. So, cool, we're just waiting on these guys to dry, but we made 7 of these little guys in 2 hours. Got on a roll there. Sure, I could make plenty more, but I'm gonna stop at 7 because I want to make sure that these guys are gonna be able to be sold. I don't ever want to make too many of a product because I don't want to be stuck with them. There's only so many spots in my dollhouses that I can put these. but they turned out okay. That one's a little funky, but pretty cool. Not bad. So, I am gonna give you guys my spiel, because now I have, like, new people to tell it to. Oh my goodness, new people! New people. So exciting. Thank you for the follow. Alright, let me make sure I cover all of my bases here. So, for those of you new to my channel and for those of you returning, my name is Bailey Carr Zimmerman and I am the owner of Blueberry Hollow Miniatures. I have been collecting miniatures for 25 years, and over the past 3 years, ooh, almost 4 years. Oh my gosh, almost 4 years. 3 years, we'll say 3 years. I have been making miniatures to sell. My Etsy currently only has my mother's items for sale, as I have had to deactivate my items in preparation for upcoming miniature shows. But if you are interested in checking out anything that I do, you can find me on all sorts of social media and various platforms. If you want to check out my stream, I stream on Sunday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then I upload those videos to YouTube. As I was saying earlier, last week's did not go up because I'm in the process of kind of trying to trim them down. I already don't like this decision, so I'm probably just going to keep uploading my streams, and they're just going to be 3-hour long, really boring, videos, and it is what it is. But I'll try to be more informative as to what I'm doing when I'm making things, because that was part of the request. But I don't have the energy to trim them down. I don't have the time. I'm sorry. They're going to be boring and long. You can find me on YouTube at Blueberry Hollow Miniatures, and you can also find me on Twitch at Blueberry Hollow Miniatures. If you want to check out my blog, I write about I've written about things that I've made in the past, shows that I go to. Last year I wrote up all of the stories that my grandmother wrote to me about Blackberry Hollow, which inspired me to get into miniatures. All the children's stories that she wrote about the things that were going on in her dollhouse. And then I went back and kind of put a couple of footnotes, things that I thought were funny, how they related to my life when I was little, and getting these stories, things that are no longer considered canon in the world of the hollows, that being Blackberry Hollow and Blueberry Hollow. And this year I'm going through and doing a recipe vlog, which is not something I thought I'd ever say, but it is certainly something that I'm doing. I'm taking food from the stories and finding equivalent recipes, and at the end of the year I'm going to be putting up a recipe book for sale based on recipes from the hollows. So you can check that out at blueberryhollowminiatures.wordpress.com. Like I said, my Etsy is it only has my mother's stuff up right now, but you can check that out at Etsy at Blueberry Hollow Minis. If you want to check me out on Facebook or Instagram, that's Blueberry Hollow Miniatures, and TikTok is Blueberry Hollow Minis. And if you want to support me more than following, subscribing, liking, commenting, while all of that is much appreciated and it makes me smile to no end, you can always support me on Patreon. It's Blueberry Hollow Miniatures. On there I have my HO train scale project. I put up my commission work, things that don't quite fit into my social media platforms, but still things that I kind of want to show off. There are 3 levels to pledge at on there. It's $1, $5, and $10, and each of them gets you exponentially more involvement. You get access to all of the exclusive content, but some of them offer you an end of the year present, and some of them offer you free tickets to the Philadelphia Miniatura, which is a gigantic show that I sell at every year. Yeah, there's all sorts of things. So that's Blueberry Hollow Miniatures as well. And if you are a miniaturist looking to get into miniatures, or looking to just kind of find things in your area, shows, vendors, whatever, I am building a resource that is completely free that catalogs vendor shows, clubs, recreationalists, and all sorts of resources, podcasts and YouTube channels and all sorts of fun things like that. It's a completely free resource to join and to access. It is called the Free Miniaturist Directory. It can be found at freeminiaturistdirectory.wordpress.com. Oh gosh, and yeah, if you're looking, if you've been in it forever, looking to find new stuff, I encourage you to check it out. You can join. There are various submission forms on that website, and you can join as any one of the things that are on there. And if you missed all of that, you can find a bunch of my links in the About Me section in my Twitch channel or in my YouTube. And you can find me on Linktree at linktr.ee/blueberryhollowminiatures. Oh, goodness, what a mouthful. Whew. Yes, it does make me smile. Go to festivals. I try to stick to conventions for now. There's only so much I can do, as this is a completely part-time job. But maybe next year I'll consider going to like a craft fair or something. But yeah, for now, this is what I got. Next week we're working on Easter stuff. So we're gonna make maybe an Easter banner or something, I think that's what I have in the works. So I want to make an Easter banner. Oh, excuse me. Because I have banners for every other holiday, and I don't have banners for Easter. So, I definitely appreciate if you guys stop back in for that. We're gonna make some cutesy Easter banners. So, thank you guys for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their weekend and a lovely week ahead of them. And I will see you guys next Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining, guys. Good night.